Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Please don't forget to like this video, share this video, and most importantly, click on the subscribe button below and hit the notification bell so you will get updated for all the videos and vlogs that I will be uploading in the future. So today is the part 2 of my personal finance management tips that I have showed you last Friday. I will be sharing with you how I normally do my financial checkup. I'm not gonna ask you for you to tell me what is your current financial position is. I'll be just sharing with you how you can do it for yourself as I give myself as an example. All right? So financial checkup is just like more of assessment of our financial status, our financial position. So let's check mine. All right, so I told you that the first one is healthcare. So what I currently do for my healthcare is, what I've learned is it's very important for you to have a short-term healthcare and a long-term healthcare. Short-term healthcare is something that will take good care of you, of your health concerns. Let's say when you go to the hospitals, having checkups, or when you get hospitalized, that short-term healthcare card will take good care of my expenses. Previously, in the Philippines, when I'm still not an OFW, I have, my former company has a short-term healthcare card. So that's kind of free. When I go to the, how do you say, accredited hospitals, I have MaxiCare back then, but it was being paid by my company previously. And I don't have any long-term healthcare at that time when I was still in the Philippines because I don't think I would need it. So when I joined an organization who taught me and gave me a platform on how to become financially independent, I've learned about the long-term healthcare. So when I came to Dubai, short-term healthcare is, I still didn't buy for it for myself because the company is providing it for me as well. My current company is providing it for me as well. So I just pay like 10% of the fee. So let's say the cost of my hospitalization or my checkup would be, let's say 100. So I'll just be paying 10 dirhams or let's say 10 to cover for it. So I would say my short-term healthcare is covered. So for those in the Philippines, PhilHealth is okay, and it will be great if your company is also providing short-term healthcare. So that's two things. Whatever your current healthcare won't be able to cover, then probably your PhilHealth can. So anyway, so for me, I have that short-term healthcare provided by the company. And then long-term healthcare, I took a plan from Kaiser. So it's like I'm paying it now for the next 7 years. The fund is getting reinvested and it will grow after, in the next 20 years, which will take good care of me when I'm 60. Because as we all know, people get, when you retire, the short-term healthcare, you'll just be able to use it until 60 years old. Anything beyond that, your short-term healthcare won't be able to cover you. So it is important that as early as now, you would have long-term healthcare. You're trying to prepare yourself when you become 60 years old or onwards, when you become senior citizen. So at least you would have something in place. Yeah, so that's what I have. Protection. I remember way back during my first year working, the first thing that I got myself is a life insurance. So that one, it's just solely life insurance. Like when you die, and that's the only time where your family can get something out of it. So it's just a typical one that I got. And it's still cheap at the time, I would say. Because the younger you are, the cheaper it will be for you. And I mean, that's how insurance is. The cost is cheaper when you're young and healthy. So it's never too late. You can still get one if you want. So, and then after that, I took another one from Sun Life. That insurance will cover for it has a life insurance aspect, but the one that I took, the one with the VUL, so it has an investment aspect wherein if I suddenly retire, so I would have something in place that's outside of what the company that I'm working for is offering. So I would still be able to get it when I became older. So I just don't normally check how much I normally pay for it, but I just see it as an investment, or let's say at least for my kids, for my future kids, that they wouldn't have to worry about me when I became old. Like I'm hoping that it will be enough to pay for my home care in case. Grabe ako mag-isip, no? Parang layo. Anyway, so that one. And then the next protection that I've got also is, those two has its accidental benefits and all this stuff in it. So it's up to you on what do you want to have, to put in there. Like, which you think is that would suit you best. So for me, I just put a small amount probably because I'm still single and I don't have, like family first. So actually insurance varies from person to person based on your status. When you're single, so most probably if your parents are well taken care of and your siblings are okay, like they can take good care of themselves, then you don't need that much. I remembered before when I took the insurance, I was thinking that I don't want to give a problem to my parents when I die. Like I don't want them to, to borrow money just for my funeral. I know I think like I'm a bit morbid, but normally just how I think. Of course, I'm still hoping and praying for a long life and healthy life, but just taking precautions, you would say. And then after that, so when I joined that Kaiser, remember that the healthcare, the long-term healthcare that I'm pertaining to, it also has protection. So if let's say I wouldn't reach that age, then my beneficiary would also get something out of it. It also acts as a life insurance. So if I live too long, I would have healthcare, and then if I die too soon, that will be converted to another insurance. So all in all, currently, I've got 3 insurances: term insurance that has that benefit only, Sun Life VUL insurance that has that benefit and investment component that I intend for my retirement, Kaiser Ultimate Health Builder acts as my life insurance if I die too soon, long-term healthcare if I get sick in between, and if I live too long with a healthy lifestyle, then it can be converted as another investment on my end and can also act as my pension when I get old. And the next is debt management. Debt management is, we try to avoid debts. We eliminate debts. But I think, I'm not saying that you shouldn't be taking debt. So how I normally manage my debt is I have a credit card, and whenever I use the card, I pay my bills in full. I'm not paying for the interest expenses. People say like, I don't want to use credit card because it will leak your, you will just end up buying a lot of things, and paying. But actually, it has a pros and cons. You just need to manage it in order for you to get all the pros. So I'm using the credit cards because it's safer. I can use it for installment purposes if I wanted to buy some bigger stuff, like when I bought this camera that I'm using, because I don't want to pay it in full, because paying it in full would affects my liquidity. Liquidity means yung availability of cash. I mean, I don't want to touch my emergency funds on there. So even if I paid an installment, it doesn't have any interest expenses because some banks offer you 0% interest, right, for installments. So I just manage that one. And the reason why I'm using credit card also is because it has points in it. And recently, if you remember, I had an unboxing of my Huawei MatePad Pro that came from the points that I've incurred for the past years, 3 years probably or more. So I'm just trying to make use of all the tipid tips that you can think of. If you're taking a loan from the bank for a business, that's okay, because that business will become your asset and will give money. But if you're taking a loan to buy, let's say, a house that nobody will stay, I don't think that's a great idea. Okay, emergency funds. Emergency funds is, as what I've told in my previous vlog, is for you to have available funds in case of emergencies. So what I normally do for my emergency funds is my salary. If you're single, your total salary times 3, you just have to keep it in place. So just in case, remember when the pandemic happened, I wasn't really worried, because if ever I will be retrenched from the job, I would have enough money to cover for my few months stay until I get a job, or enough money to fly back home in the Philippines, and I'll be good for the next, let's say, being unemployed for the next few months. But thank God it didn't happen, so I'm fine. If you're single, I suggest like 3 times of your monthly salary. And if you have a family, 6 times of your monthly salary that you should keep as an emergency fund for you. Well, it depends on whatever, let's say, expenses that you cannot afford to pay, or cannot afford, whatever debts that you cannot afford to pay, or whatever expenses that you cannot afford to buy or spend on. Then it depends. It varies actually. The last one is investments. So whatever excess I've got after paying for all my health cares, for my insurances, for my debts, and after keeping enough emergency funds, I'm actually reinvesting it to mutual funds. I do stocks investing, direct stock investing. But for people who are not really savvy in terms of stocks, then you can invest to mutual funds. Currently, I'm investing to government bonds also. You would have Pag-ibig, MP2, you also have SSS Flexi Funds in place. And I just put it anywhere where I think I can have, like good return. So for people who aren't aware of these platforms where you can put your money, I also invested into some fund managements wherein I had this platform wherein in just 1,000 pesos, you can invest in stocks. I'm not saying that people that you invest in stocks, you're already rich or you have a lot of money. It's actually even for as low as 500 peso, you can invest in stocks. You just have to know where to put your money. And for those people who still want to learn more, please feel free to drop your comment section or just like ping me to Nikki Abdul Manap. Either way, for my friends and family who already know my social medias accounts, you can ping me there. I'm willing to help. I'm willing to share what I'm currently doing with my finances if you think that it's actually worth checking out. And yes, for that investments, I'm currently doing my Pag-ibig contribution, SSS contribution for the pensions. If you can put a lot of your extra money for those funds for which you think that would help you become financially independent, you should always look for ways in order for you to achieve that. And financial independence is not just for the rich, it's for everybody. So I hope I was able to share with you thoughts or insights, or at least makes you curious on how to become financially independent. Wouldn't say that I'm already financially independent. I still have a long way to go, but it's good that somehow I'm trying my best to plan for it. Not just for me, but if God will bless me, for my future family, for my future kids. But if I would be blessed with a single blessedness life, then at least I wouldn't have to worry my nieces and my nephews or people around me to take good care of me in the future. So at the end of the day, apart from becoming financially healthy, it's good that we should also take good care of ourselves. It's not like you're keeping all of your money in one place and then you don't enjoy life. It's a trial and error. There's no right thing or wrong thing to do. I'm not even sure if I'm doing the right thing with my life, but I just always try to strike a balance. Whenever I travel, I make sure that I'm not spending all my money. I still be able to put some for my healthcare, for my insurances, to pay my debts on time, and to have my emergency funds in place, and of course my investments. I can still put something in it, no matter how big or small that you're putting. In time, you wouldn't notice. You wouldn't notice in the next 1 year, 5 years, it will be more than that. So you just have to keep on going and keep on trying. And please feel free to drop me on my email if you have any queries, or I'll be willing to help and share with you some tips that might be applicable to you, like what I'm currently doing. So thank you for watching, and I hope I've helped you today.